All right, let's give it a couple seconds here. Krista, I think we're live. Are we live?
Looks live.
Hey, if you guys are out there, do us a favor, drop a hashtag live, let us know. And first and foremost, let's welcome Krista back. Krista.
Yeah, hey guys.
Hey, listen, I hope you had a good birthday. By the pictures, it looked like it was awesome. I still have the photo of you in a tutu and a cupcake, which we are going to hold for the right time. So you were like in really good spirits, like go ahead and share this.
I
Because
know.
we're all happy and having a good time in Cabo. I'm going to hold on to that when you're not ready for it.
Yes. You guys, listen, I had the best vacation ever. Y'all, this is the way to do adult vacations. We had a butler. Okay. We had a butler who waited on his hand and foot, so much so for 5 days that when I came home and the dog threw up on the rug downstairs, I was like, where's the butler? And my husband looked at me and he was like, we're the butlers in this house. We're the butlers. So
you're like, I want my butler back.
I was like, where's Angel? We need our butler
you
back.
Probably could have snuck in, like probably could have snuck him on the plane. Anyways, all right, listen, it is February 17th. It is 1 p.m. Central Time, year of our Lord, 2022.
Yes.
And like we promised, we have a very special guest today, Shanee Moret, who has an incredible story and who's also going to be bringing some amazing challenges to us today in regards to why it is important, why leaders need to understand their role and the importance of personal branding, promoting this within the organizations, and by not stepping into this themselves, how they're actually hurting their businesses and themselves. We're going to be right back, and we got Shanee coming in a couple seconds. Donnie, you got our intro? All right, talk to you in just a couple seconds, guys. Hey, welcome, Shanee. Welcome to LunchTalk Live.
Yes.
Hey, Rigo. I feel like I have to bring my energy level.
I told you, you better wake up. You better wake up.
Hey, well, thank you so much. I'm happy to be here today. And I'm excited to learn and share and just be part of the conversation.
Absolutely. I connected with you some time back and started working with you in some of the projects that you are working with leaders in. But what I was most impressed with what you do was in the short amount of time, the way that you have found ways of simplifying learning. And I've told you this personally, I was just incredibly impressed with this. And your story, I've heard in a brief a bit of it because you don't really have the time in a lot of these formats to share it. But I really felt that this is a story that so many need to hear, especially from an empowerment perspective as a single mother and what you did. And so I really wanted to really just kind of start there, right there, and really introduce our audience with the fact of who Shanee Moret is and how did you get to this point in your life today in 2022, running a multi-million-dollar generating business and helping others do the same.
Yeah. So where do I begin? So I'll begin with how I found LinkedIn. And I found LinkedIn after being given an ultimatum in July 2018 from my boss. So I was working a regular job. Shanee didn't have a network. I had never really even posted on social media in a marketing or business sense for myself prior to that. And when I was given that ultimatum, I didn't want to just go get another job, right? I wanted to see, my initial goal was just to see, could I use the marketing skills that I had, become a freelancer and just replace the income that I had then from my job, which was like, it was very, very small. So that was my first initial goal. And then that took me to Google and I was like, how can I do this? Like, where can I, freelance write? Where can I copyright? Where can I write blogs that make money? And one of those articles was about a place called LinkedIn. And I read the girl's article, and she basically was just saying optimize the profile and send a bunch of messages, which we know that that's not really the best strategy, right? But I didn't know any better. So that's kind of how I found LinkedIn, to answer your question. And then I hated cold outreach, right? So like the one thing that I want to clarify is like I didn't go into creating content to build a personal brand. I went into creating content because I hated to cold call and cold message people. And I wanted to see if this content thing was like a scam or if it would actually work for business. So I did that, and I gave myself 30 days, and I was like, let me just see if it works, right? Like I have to try.
Yeah.
And within 30 days, I saw serious results, right? Like I went from having to like pull people's teeth to get on a consult, them not really trusting me, them lowballing me on price, them becoming very difficult clients, to people reaching out to me and paying me thousands of dollars that same day. So within 60 days, I got my first client that was at a $5,000 retainer, which for me at the time was life changing, right? That was just one client. And so I was like, well, this content thing on this place called LinkedIn really works. And I just doubled down from there. And I haven't turned back since.
That's
So
awesome.
right now you have currently, and then on this platform, you're a superstar. I've already told you that, but 1.2 million followers. Not bad in 4 years.
Not bad.
Not bad. I'm just saying it's not bad. Krista, what do you think?
I mean, it's amazing. You know, we have talked about this several times is, you know, Instagram and Facebook, it's just a totally different world. LinkedIn is its own little world and it's very untapped, and it's just not the same, right? I love that you were like, and I think this is where a lot of content creators and entrepreneurs who are in the digital space are just like, let me just try, let me just see what happens. And then some really cool things come out of it. And I love that. Those are my favorite stories, right? Like, I don't know, I read a thing or two, I gave it a go, and here I am. And it's been a beautiful journey, right? Not to say that there aren't some crazy pieces to it, and a lot of hard work and some long nights, but I mean, that's the American dream, in my opinion, is, hey, I got this gift. Let's try it and see where we can go from there. I think that's beautiful. It's amazing.
Yeah. And one of the things that it was almost an advantage for me that I didn't know about LinkedIn prior, because I didn't have a lot of the preconceived rules set in my mind, right? So I didn't know that, you know, this was a professional place and you shouldn't do like a selfie video. I didn't know that like you weren't supposed to reach out to people. So I just started to create videos in my style, and that differentiation kind of got a lot of people's attention, without me really even understanding why in the beginning, because I didn't understand the rules of LinkedIn.
Yeah,
that makes
funny.
sense.
The rules of LinkedIn, which I think is interesting.
Rules
like
that I broke.
You know, and when we decided to put the show on LinkedIn, like I was so excited to do this because I was like, LinkedIn is so boring. Like, and I love LinkedIn. See, that's the thing is I always loved the platform of it. I loved how I can communicate with people differently. I tried, spending a little more time on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or any of these. And really, I enjoy more than anything on those. I just like watching other people's videos. So TikTok was huge for me. Like, I'm the guy that gets to the screen that finally says you should probably get off and go to bed now. Like I always see that at least once or twice.
You get the warning.
Yeah, like, hey, all right, you've been, and I'm like, all right, I guess, but these are funny, and I just enjoy stuff like that. But I was always like, I loved America's Home Videos growing up. Like I always loved that stuff. But with LinkedIn, I love that I could always communicate and I could build. So interesting enough, when you talked to me about what you wanted to share, I was excited about it because it was about a year ago, we did the branding video, right? So there was, Jeff, God, come on, Jeb Blunt, not Jeff, too many authors. Jeb Blunt has an incredible book in regards to the social selling aspect. And he talks about the importance of branding yourself. And so we did a video on this, and it's interesting because one of the things that I've seen, and I've heard this in conversations, I even think we had a conversation on it earlier today, but in regards to employers seeing an employee self-branding as a threat. And so I think what's happened is that they're not recognizing the aspect of the power of social selling skills. And I believe that the last couple of years of what has happened globally from the impacts of COVID, moving so many individuals into a different way of selling.
Yeah.
And so it didn't matter, and to me, sales is not an ugly word. Sales is a way of solving a problem. So I didn't come up from a formal sales background. I came from an operational background who liked to solve problems. So as an engineer or an operations manager type personality, we needed to solve problems. So when I moved into sales, to me, this was just solving problems. So much like Shanee, is I'm not following a protocol. I'm saying, hey, this is who I am. I want to be able to help you. And you should be out there branding yourself, because the more I get to know you, the more I'm going to get to know how you help me or serve someone else. And then maybe I can make that connection. And that's how I always kind of looked at that and wanting to grow those connections. So you had pointed out this specific phrase, which we said was why CEOs, why leaders need to understand the power of personal branding. Can you get into that?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's self-evident. Like, look at someone like, whether you like these people or not, someone like Elon Musk, right? He has a personal brand. He can move markets with a tweet. And his competitor last year spent hundreds of millions of dollars on advertising, and Tesla spent zero, right? So there are just opportunities. There are certain doors you can get in. There are certain people that will give you a chance before other people if you cultivate trust, right? And trust is at the core of everything. So whether you're a CEO that just wants to leverage other people's platforms to share your story, to get more eyes on your brand, like, those people are not going to open their platforms to you, especially if they're big creators, if they have no relationship with you, if they don't recognize that you're also consistent, and if you have no value to give them, right? And I think that at the core of everything, for me, the currency of personal brand is trust, right? And your ability to act on opportunities that trust cultivates is monetary, right?
Yes.
So there are some people that have a lot of trust, but they just don't know how to tap into it to monetize. But if you literally can cultivate trust and you understand relationships enough to monetize, then you can't compete with someone that has a brand if you don't. Or, you could try, but compounding long term, there's no way.
Yeah. And what I love about what you just said is that somebody doesn't have to have 1.5 million followers to have a trusting brand, right? Like, I'll give you a really easy example. I have like 8,000 people on Instagram, and I've got 1,500 in a Facebook group, and my business does really, really well. But it's not because everybody knows that I have this incredible program on the other side. It's because I show up every single day, just like you show up every day, just like Elon Musk shows up every day, and puts out things that are important to them and impact, right? And so what's really incredible is if somebody is watching this video, you don't have to be an Elon Musk. You don't have to have a bazillion followers. You can literally start with where you are and move the needle and learn how to monetize and learn how to help yourself out and better your business just by understanding a few of the things that you're going to share with us today. So I'm so excited to jump into that and to understand it more and to see the value in it, and so that other people can see the value in it, because it truly is, in social selling and in the world that we live in now, like, it's the way of the world. It's how we do things now. It's so not how it used to be. It literally is a few clicks away and a few understandings and frameworks away from building whatever it is that you want out of your business, out of your world, out of your lifestyle, right?
Absolutely. And that's in, you know, in any place, you know, Krista, you've made an amazing business and living using Facebook.
Yeah.
Right. And I've built my career in LinkedIn. It just always has been. And Shanee has done the same. Real quick, I want to give you guys a quick second. If you can hear us on LinkedIn, then know that there is some sort of bug happening for certain folks. I am one of them. So what I'm going to be doing is dropping in again the link to our YouTube channel, which is why we always have a backup for that reason. And that is got to be a StreamYard / LinkedIn thing. But let me tell you the power of learning why going live is so important. So if you guys are having issues, please click on the link, go to the YouTube. You can still communicate, chat with us there, and you won't miss a thing. But this is why learning how to bring these types of programs out to the public. And I always like to go back to Jesse, who challenged me to start doing my shows live. Always
Rigo, I have
grateful
a
for that.
story. I have a story about Facebook, and it's relevant to the conversation. So one of my posts that went viral on LinkedIn, someone had screenshot it, right? This is probably like a year, maybe 14 months ago, something like that. And I guess the person that screenshot it, she just posted it on her Facebook. Well, the post went like it went like so viral on Facebook. I think it had like 200,000 shares. It was just like a text post. And then people started to connect with me because when she screenshot it, my face, like the bubble of my face with my name was on it. But like it was crazy. But let me tell you the story. People started reaching out to me on LinkedIn. Oh, I saw you on Facebook. I saw you on Facebook. I saw you on Facebook. I'm like, I'm never on Facebook. Where are these people coming from?
I'm never on Facebook.
And then I'm like, can you send me the post that you saw me on Facebook?
Yeah, because I put the post out.
Exactly, because I don't go on Facebook. And so I realized what the person had done. I'm like, oh my gosh. But it was so crazy. Virality on Facebook. I've gone viral multiple times on LinkedIn. Virality on Facebook was insane. Like people from my childhood were like reaching out. People that know my family were reaching out. But like and maybe because like I'm never on Facebook, right? But like the monetization on that side, it like was nothing compared to LinkedIn, right? Yeah. So it was just crazy how much reach Facebook has. Like it was incomparable. But on the monetization side, like it was also incomparable. But random story, about
I like
Facebook.
it. I love it.
So Shanee, why do you think that certain folks in a leadership role, there are some that are very good at getting out there and spending time in the social selling arena. Real quick. Oh, by the way, Kristen and I do a lot of squirrels. Like, this is like pew, 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 pew. So you got to keep up. I think we're pretty good at coming back to subject, but it's like we do this a lot. So
You're doing great.
Just hang tight. You're good. Everyone's like, I love the calmness. I'm like, blah. Come on.
Oh my gosh.
Come on.
No, that's how I am. People will be like, aren't you excited? I'm like, yeah, I'm excited.
This is my happy face. This is me pumped.
No, they'll reach out to Courtney too. They're like, oh, I thought Shanee would be excited. And she's like, trust me, she's excited.
She was.
It's like she's doing backflips. You just can't see.
Yeah. No, Krista and I, it's like all right here. It's right on the sleeve. Like we can't hide it. If I'm having a bad day, I'm like, oh, I'm having a good day.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to go back real quick. So back to the subject in terms of why leaders will feel intimidated by not reinforcing this with individuals. So this is kind of a pause here because it's a two-part comment / question, which is I had this conversation with a CEO here last week, and we were sitting down having a discussion about this. And I said, there was a period of time where we expected our salespeople regardless of their area and how they did it, but how many calls did you make? Did you reach out? What were your contacts? Today, it's not as much as how many calls, as how many engagements did you make in a B2B network like
Right.
LinkedIn. So to me, I want to understand, like, I'm measuring my value in how many times that I go and engage. And with some of the clients that we coach, I'm like, you guys, liking is not it. Go engage, get to know them, comment, create
Yeah.
a level of connection. And it's, don't BS it. Literally find something that you have a connection on and get to know these people. That's the whole idea of this network, is to connect and build it. So with that in being said, do you think this is a just a matter of time situation where leaders are going to finally recognize, and I think many of them will probably be too late, where they're like, oh crap, this is where the market is now moved? Or do you think there's a true intimidation or an insecurity because maybe they're afraid they're going to get out and get noticed and get picked up by somebody else?
So I think that the leaders don't encourage their people to post and stuff because they understand that if they grow a following, if they start to get influence, they're not gonna need them anymore, right? That's just, it's human nature. I can't tell you the amount of executives that reach out to me. I mean, I'm talking about high level executives that have been with some of the biggest companies for 25 years that reach out to me privately, who want to leverage LinkedIn, who want to build their personal brand, who want to just share, right? But the second they even post something, HR is down their throat threatening them. And then that puts them in a very awkward situation, right? So I've seen it over and over again. The person will get feel jaded, feel betrayed, like they put in decades into this company and they're not even given the leeway to post. And then they leave, right? And they usually become a consultant, right? They usually join a startup. They usually become an entrepreneur of some sort. And when you look at what's happening with the gig economy, this is what happens when you don't give people freedom. Yeah, I see it all the time.
Yeah, it's really, I have like a spin-off of that. So I work with a lot of busy moms, right? And so a lot of my busy moms tend to be educators. And we all know that if you want to live a certain lifestyle and retire in a certain way, as being an educator, that's probably not going to happen. And a lot of my moms are on fire for health and wellness and bringing food freedom to other women, other families, or I'll give you an example. One of them works with softball players, like youth female softball players. And so she's bringing in nutrition into her world. And when she goes to put herself out there socially, the school has a really big problem with her talking about health and wellness and mental health for young girls and mental health for families and all of that stuff. And so she actually just resigned from her teaching job, which she's been there for 15 years. Her retirement is all wrapped up in it because they tried to handcuff her on her own expressive freedom and helping herself out financially by having a side business of helping people, get healthy and get better. And so it's just really interesting to me, instead of encouraging that, like you're helping young girls and young families, it is really shot down. It's really, really a disservice by, corporations and people who oversee other people to not encourage them to live their best life and to get, to do what they want to do and express themselves and help other people. How do we get around that? What is the, is this just how it goes? Like people end up leaving, or is there a way to do it without threatening or without the higher ups feeling threatened by it so that you can have the best of both worlds? Like what's the give and take there?
So, sometimes I've seen where they communicate, but I'm just going to be honest, like they communicate, then the boss or the HR, team will be like, yeah, it's cool for you to post on LinkedIn. Like, we don't care. And then I guess they underestimate, especially when someone comes to someone like me, right? How fast they can grow.
Right.
And then they start to go live, and then they start to really see them like really having some type of pull and push, and engaging with like very, high level decision makers and growing an audience. And then they'll be like, oh, but you can't go live. Oh, but you can't do, like, they'll start to kind of like clap back a little bit. So if you're in that position, if you're an executive, number one, if you're looking for a job, make sure that in your job contract or whatever, that you have the freedom to post on LinkedIn. All right. Like,
Alright.
do not accept a position.
That's actually a great piece of negotiating skills that we wouldn't have had to mention 5 years ago.
Exactly.
Honestly.
But now, yeah, honestly, I wouldn't, like, if anyone is looking for a job right now, I wouldn't take any offer unless you had the freedom to post on LinkedIn. The second thing is, if you're trying to build a side hustle and you have your, like, main profile and it's already connected, like I've seen people where they do a second profile, block everyone at their company and build it up like that.
Yeah.
No, seriously, I'm just being
Really?
honest.
Right.
No, literally, because like if you cannot, this is a catch-22. They're usually trying to make their side hustle their main hustle.
Sure.
But how can you do that if you can't promote yourself, if
Right.
you can't market on LinkedIn, right?
See, that's interesting. That's interesting, Shanee, because, this is maybe just a thought process that I've always had. But I think the culture is massively changing that today. 2020 did a great bit on this a few weeks ago when they released the numbers of last November, right? The greatest, employee walkout of recorded history in the United States. And there's over 15 million open jobs right now. And they had 4.5 million people walk out of their roles in November. Like, we're talking, mid-range to below and even high exec range roles. People were just leaving. I think I shared with you this the other day, Shanee, but I got a message in from a high-ranking CEO who's in a high-ranking CEO position for a very large company, a Fortune 50 company, saying, one of my biggest challenges is, as a CEO, as a high-level exec, is seeing the inefficiencies in corporations and not wanting to go back to work more than ever before, not wanting to go in every day.
Yeah.
And I believe that I've seen this in my own sector where I'm seeing a lot of people shifting and moving into roles. And the ones that are getting these really, really awesome individuals are the companies that are doing something different, which they're saying, like, we're looking to grow a different level of business that has a different level of culture. And I think they're opening themselves up to understanding that transparency is going to be key, that the employee holds the cards. So how do you create for them an environment that they can grow?
Yeah. It's gonna be, I believe that the corporations, the startups, and everyone that wins will really create a culture where people can be like entrepreneurs, right? Where it's really just like at the root of everything is trust, transparency, clear communication. Like, we're not going to track your time on your computer. You don't have to ask permission to go to the bathroom. I mean, like, I know these things sound crazy, but it's true. You can work from home at least 3 days out of the week. And it's going to be more performance based. And I think that that's better, because just because you do something for 8 hours doesn't mean that you're going to do it better than if you did something more effectively in 4. I feel like that whole model was kind of broken. And I also feel like it's going to allow people to, as entrepreneurs, offer more of their ideas, right? Don't put fish on land, like, put them where they're strong. And if not, you're going to have a very hard time hiring. And when you talk about why is it important for CEOs to build personal brand, let's talk about attracting top talent.
Yes.
Right? Like, if I don't even know what goes on behind the scenes of your company, if I don't know what your morals and values are, if I don't even know your character, if I'm not important enough to you for you to show up consistently, then why do I want to work for you as an employee? And that's how people are thinking now. Why do I even want to work with you as a partner? You know?
Mhm.
So
True. You think about, okay, I want you to catch this one. I'm building a relationship with a client. This is a couple of years ago. And we're connected, obviously, in LinkedIn. And we were doing one of our other live shows, or maybe I don't know. One thing you'll learn about me in time, I don't get it. Okay. Time doesn't exist.
Children. He has a lot of children.
It's a good thing and it's a bad thing. But so here's this comment that this individual made to me, and I said, "Oh, you're on Instagram or Facebook or something like that." I said, "Hey, let's connect. Love to connect with you there because he was into whiskey. I'm real big into whiskey, if you can't tell." And I said, "Yeah, let's connect." And he goes, "Oh, I don't connect with my professional connections on my personal pages." And I was like, "Wait, what?" And I'm like, "Wait, so are you telling me that, you know, John Smith on LinkedIn is not the same John Smith? So you're telling me that you have a fake persona here?" And that was when it clicked for me that, okay, something needs to change. I don't care if it means I have to disrupt a little bit. And that was really when I decided that moving myself into this platform even more, because I've always loved LinkedIn, but to really do things that I was afraid to do myself.
mhm.
And I realized that's dumb, because if you get to know me here, you already know me.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
and you know, the other day, Shanee, I think you had come, no, you gave me one of those on it. It was the first time I'd gone into that depth of a level of sharing some very personal things with myself, because I'm recognizing, and this was challenged by another client that said, you know, they were fearful of what might be said. And I said, you shouldn't be afraid of that anymore. Like, who gets, who looks down on a customer, a client, or an employee or a boss when they're on a video call and their kid runs through,
Mhm.
or
Right.
the dog barks? Like, who looks down on that anymore?
Yeah.
Our whole culture has changed.
Mhm.
We're all learning how to incorporate life and work and everything we're doing with our personal selves and everything else. We've learned that we've had to change the way that we look at it. And so that comment that said, I don't connect, you know, from LinkedIn people on a Facebook or an Instagram, it made me realize that there's still a big shift that needs to change. And it's funny because you say, Shanee, that you didn't follow the rules. And that's exactly it. Is I love that LinkedIn has a certain platform that comes with it. But at the same time, at least my goal is that you get to know who I am in the most authentic way that I can present myself to you.
Mhm.
Because I'm always going to be a professional, and I'm always going to work hard for you, or I'm always going to work diligently in creating relationships, but I'm also not perfect. I'm not going to pretend like I do everything right. I'm not going to pretend like I don't change my mind, because if I don't think we're heading the right direction, I'm going to shift. Or like Krista likes to say, we're going to shiv it.
That's right. We're gonna shift it.
Shift or pivot. Hashtag shiv it.
Yes, that's right.
Right. And so it's just, it's one of the things that I enjoy getting to know you is your authenticity. And I think that this is, would you agree that this is a huge element in today's selling arena, this social selling atmosphere?
Yeah, 100%. And people don't really understand the mechanisms behind what authenticity can do for you and your business. We have to remember that, like, when people reach out, we're complete strangers, right? So showing up, allowing them to see who we are, number one, that we're real through video, allowing them to see, answer, Q&A right live right
Mhm.
here. We're fumbling. It's never going to be perfect, but it is what it is. And then they could decide, okay, do we really know what we're talking about or not? Do they like our personality or not? So that by the time they do meet with us on a Zoom, it's not like they're just getting to know us. So it compresses the sales conversion, cycle, like, so much, right? And you could even take out, like, if you're doing 45-minute consultation calls, like, those could be reduced to like 5 to 10 minutes or wiped out completely just by your content creating that trust for you while you sleep, right? And I think that people underestimate the power of these digital assets, right? That you literally can duplicate yourself.
You know what? You know what's interesting, Shanee? There was a report done. I'll have to bring it back up. It was HubSpot did one, and there's another fairly large organization that put one together. I think individuals are still struggling with it. The big companies have shifted in social selling and content like marketing in the social arena. Saying that word a lot of times is getting really tricky. I'm just throwing that out there. It went from a 35%, and in the top like Fortune 1500s, like the big companies that are way ahead of us in how to sell a product, have moved over 70% of their budgets are moving into the digital space in terms of influencing and selling. You had a conversation with the team here the other day, Shanee, and one of the programs that we're a part of, and you had mentioned how your daughter's entire need of what she wants to buy and purchase is all being influenced by what?
Agly. It's a little 5-year-old her age that she watches on YouTube that plays with her brother Nico. And she wants Agley's bed. She wants Agley's unicorn. She wants Agley's pillow. She even said she wants to pay to go play with Agley.
Done.
No, like seriously. And it's like, is Agley like going on a video and being like, buy my pillowcase? You know what I mean? No, she's not. Nope. She's just entertaining and like building an audience of these other kids that now want to be like Agley.
That's it. Influential marketing. Like everybody looks at me and they're like, man, I got to get more black shirts. That's what they think is. I need more black shirts. That Rigo Murillo is totally influencing me to have nothing but black shirts.
Yeah. And it's really incredible what you mentioned. I get the privilege of watching what you said come to fruition, like every week to week, month to month. So I have obviously a lot of content on different platforms. And when people come to me for a discovery call or a sales call, and we sit down and they have been in my private group and I've been serving them and showing up and being myself, really, all I do is hit live and I go in there and I lay some truth about their mindset, about motherhood, about nutrition.
Nuggets.
By the time we get on our phone call, there's no selling. It is literally like, Mama, what's your need? What's going on? And how can I show up? And how can I rock your world and serve you and help you get to where you want to go? It's done. Like there's no convincing. And people will say to me, well, I really want to impact other women in their nutrition, but I don't want to be salesy. And I'm like, y'all, I don't sell. Like I do not consider myself a salesperson. I show up and I serve. I give. And because I give, people are like, I want to be in your world.
And you bring the fire.
Yeah. And you know what, Krista, people say this is where the disparity lies, is people say, hey, I want to impact, right? I don't want to be salesy, but yet they don't want to show up.
Right. They're
more can't have both.
Yeah. Right. No, they're like, I don't want to go live. I don't want to I don't want to share a hard time with you. And I'm like, well, then you must not really want to be impactful, because that's what it is. Right.
It's half our city. We got snow and ice everywhere. Yeah. Like half my team didn't even get to show up to work today. We obviously got internet issues. I'm freezing because in the studio it's cold. Like it's cold.
A sweater, Rigo.
It would look dumb on camera. Like I want to come on. Remember I'm influencing black t-shirts.
Okay.
That's what I do. So, but no, you're right. They don't. What, Krista?
Here's something else that I love that you just said. Is that so authenticity? We talk about authenticity all the time and showing up authentic, right? And so I can remember when I was really, 7 years ago when I started doing this, it was hard to show up authentic because I didn't really know what was authentic to me. I was so influenced by what everybody else was doing, and that, well, if I want to be successful, it has to look like that. It has to look like that. I did not know, but it is fumbling through and just putting yourself out there and putting content out there. And that's how you find your authentic self. It doesn't just happen because you go, I'm going to show up authentically on Facebook No, like I've like you and everybody else who is on there putting themselves out there, you find your voice, you find
Oh
your
yeah.
people, right? But if
Yeah.
you don't, if you're not willing to show up messy, you're not going to find your people, you're not going to find yourself. That's when it becomes salesy. That's when you're trying to sell something that you're not connected to, and people
Boom. That's because you stop being
Yeah.
authentic.
How do you plan authenticity anyway? Like,
That's a
it
great
goes back to
question.
Ackley, right? Like she's not holding up the pillowcase, she just has the
Yeah.
pillow.
You know what? We had a comment that came in from Seth Bryan, and he talked about and Shanee, listen, I know that your time is valuable. You had told me you were limited today on time. Are you still good, or did we let you
Yeah,
go?
I'm good. We're good.
All right. So we talked. Excuse me. Seth had said, is there any value in utilizing different social media platforms? And he talked about, LinkedIn versus Instagram. I have an opinion on it. I'd love to get yours, and Krista has hers as well, because again, she's here on LinkedIn, but she's built her business on Facebook.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And I really do believe that this comes down to one of two things. Number one is, do you know your market? So first off, understanding how to target your avatar and where you are going to bring the best value. I personally believe if I had a widget or gadget or something of that nature that I could sell, I'm going to go to Instagram and I'm going to pay for ads because it works. But I don't sell a tangible product that I can mass produce. My product is a system. It's me, and it's my knowledge of what I do. And so that it has a limited scalability, and I want to work with certain types of people. So my market is here. The second thing that I've come to recognize is again, we go back to authenticity. It's about not worrying about utilizing 15 platforms. It's about where do you find yourself best and you can connect best, because I think when people worry about followers, like you have 1.2 million. I think that's incredible. I'd love to have 1 million followers. Maybe I wouldn't. I don't know what it's like to have 1 million followers, but at the same time, I don't have a lot of followers, but I have a great business. I'm not worried about followers. I'm not worried about likes. I'm not worried about shares. I'm worried about one person. That's all I'm after is, can I help one person at a time? I'm just looking to change one person's life. So that's my goal in it. Shanee, what would you say to that question?
I would say, it depends on your bandwidth, right? Because I feel like people go into it like, oh, I have to create 100 pieces of content a day like Gary Vee, and then they just get overwhelmed and then they just quit. So, I mean, you know how important consistency is for me, Rigo, at the core of everything that we teach. So, if I were like starting from scratch, I'd probably post on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, or Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, right? And I would post on there for 30 days. I think that this is also a big misconception, is that people go into building their personal brand with a bias of what is going to work for them, and they have no idea what's going to work for them.
So they're
right?
they're trying to create a fake personal brand.
No, they're going into it saying LinkedIn's going to be the best for my market. You don't know unless you test, right? So one thing about me is like, I'm fanatic tester. Like people are like, what does this have to do with networking? Like everything that we post there's a test behind it. And he knows that because I'll bring it up in a lot of the group stuff. So I would do that. And then after 30 days, let's say that Instagram is your favorite platform, right? But TikTok for some reason and LinkedIn are popping off. Like you need to put your own bias aside and double down on TikTok and LinkedIn. Right. Yeah. And then go from there, master one or two, and then diversify once you have, employees and a bandwidth and everything. Like personally, I've been posting, my team's been posting for me on TikTok and Instagram. I can't stand Instagram. It's actually one of the reasons why I got on LinkedIn in the first place, because I think it's so fake. But Instagram loves my reels. And so it's like, we got to double down on the Instagram reels, because I have to follow the numbers. And that's one thing about us is following the numbers. And then I'll just add to this. If you have the bandwidth to be in front of your audience on different platforms, I don't care if like all of them originally come from LinkedIn and then they also connect on Instagram and TikTok. if you could compound how many times they see you in a day at different times of the day, then that's going to accelerate your conversions. But only do that if you have the bandwidth to do it.
And to be consistent in it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. That you
I
know
mean,
what? That
people
is
can barely be consistent for 30 days. I could tell 100 people post one video a day for 30 days on one platform. Maybe two will do it.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I get it. When we did this show last year, we started somewhere in the middle, and there was a couple times we did it. And Donnie and I, our goal is we're not going to miss one. We haven't missed one this year so far. And we wanted to get no less than 52 shows in. Again, it's freezing. Everywhere else, like all the businesses are closed out here right now. I'm not kidding. Like they shut down almost everything.
Wow.
And my wife was like, "Why are you guys going to drive in?" And Donnie and I looked, and he's like, "We have a show to do."
Yeah.
You know, and I love that because I've been getting a lot of compliments on that where people are grateful for that. And you want to know what? That was really cool. Like, because we work really hard to make sure that we're on this every week, and we have to try to like line people out and come up with conversation. And like, you know, then Chris is like, "I'm going to go on vacation and I'm going to go on a photo shoot and I'm going to keep leaving and not be there on Thursday. So Rigo has to figure out how to fill the spot."
So good.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was an inside voice. I didn't mean for that to come out. But no, but I mean, doing this is challenging. And one of the things that I would share to your point in bandwidth is I didn't say I'm going to do 15 shows or one show a day. I said I'm going to do one show every week on the same day at the same time. I'd love it if more people got to see it or enjoy it. But more importantly, I'm doing this for me to create habit, create consistency, and find value in what I'm doing. Because I'm looking to find value for me. And if I can find value for me, there's got to be others who want the same value. And then I'm going to share it with everybody. So that's why the whole idea of the show was just a live conversation. Just have a talk. Like if we were sitting and getting to meet each other and everybody's just getting to listen in. And hopefully they get value from it. And I think it's starting to become that. So you nailed some really good things there in terms of consistency, in terms of testing, knowing your platform. But I think it really comes down to whatever you're going to do if you just show up to it. Right?
Yeah. I mean, show up. And if you're consistently showing up, double down on what's working. Like take your bias out of it. I see so many people that they block themselves from growing because it's like all the evidence is pointing to their audience wanting more of XYZ, but they like, you know, EFG, you know, and so they post EFG and it's like, well, then don't complain when you can't monetize.
Yeah, for sure.
Totally.
Yeah, why is that so hard for people? I watch it happen day in and day out on this side of the table too, where people just get really stuck in their own biases about what they like and don't like, and they choose to ignore. So what would be the biggest piece of advice that you would give them? Like this is the conversation you have to have with yourself, or it's a matter of leaning on the numbers. Like what would you tell somebody who's really fighting, showing up where the numbers are telling them to go?
It's not about you. I mean, it's not like if you're doing this for you, you're doing it for the wrong reason. You should be doing it to reach as many people as possible to help them and be able to serve them through your offer.
I agree. It's about stop worrying about the method as much as you need to worry about the end result. It's the solution, right? The consumer decides. Exactly. The consumer decides, period.
And I mean, if like you can't have both, right? You're either gonna put your prospects, your community, your audience first and create for them and really like put them first, or you're gonna put yourself first, right? But you know,
I have to be really honest with you. When I started this, when I started Kmart Macro, when I started my business, it was very much about me. It was very much about just wanting to make money, and I'm good at this, so let's just do this. And I do feel like there was a switch that flipped for me where I was like, wow, this is really like I'm really capable of changing people's lives. And it was that switch that flipped where I was like, okay, my heart is in the right place. And I'll be really honest with you guys, when my heart settled into the right place and the reason why I was doing what I was doing, opportunities and growth and self-knowing and understanding really skyrocketed. It was really an incredible place to get to. But I think you nailed it. When your heart is in the wrong place, when it's just about you and not about what you can pour and give into the world, that energy returns, it comes right back, right? But it's, if I'm being really honest, and I think about where the need was when I started, it was very self-centered and it was very much about me. And as soon as my heart settled into the right place, all kinds of other things opened up for me, for my family, for my business, and for my clients too, right?
Yeah.
It's awesome. Because when we get in connect with ourselves and the authenticity of what we're trying to do, then we start to deliver better for our customers. And then that's the point where I think it's for another conversation, but this is where we have to challenge ourselves in understanding that we have to be willing to reevaluate all the time and looking at the path that we're taking, right? Whether we're an intrapreneur or entrepreneur. And you mentioned that earlier in our conversation, Shanee, but the tools and the goals are so similar in both of these. And these are two different types of personalities that are both building. And there's so much need for the intrapreneur to understand these skills just as much as an entrepreneur does. And I think that's, I think this is the year of the intrapreneur as much as it is for an entrepreneur. We were talking about that earlier in the year. I really do. I think go ahead, Shanee.
I think I also want to be honest here. Probably 5 out of 10 people that I talk to that call themselves entrepreneurs are actually intrapreneurs. And I don't know if it's like just a stigma that entrepreneurship is cooler, or they just don't know what an entrepreneur is. But half of them would probably make, 3 to 5 times more money within the next 12 months if they just got alongside an entrepreneur and, just admitted to themselves that they were an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Which is an amazing role. Look at
it is.
Like Tim Cook's a great example.
Cook is an entrepreneur.
That was about
like, I mean, there are billionaires that are entrepreneurs and that are just so wealthy.
They're innovating and they're creating incredible company cultures and they're doing amazing things for people.
So Shanee, let me ask you, is there space in your business right now where CEOs and entrepreneurs are coming to you and they're asking you because I think that would be fascinating, right? Like that would be my encouragement to anybody that saw this, who's an entrepreneur who wants advice on how to grow and help people become entrepreneurs in their businesses. Are people reaching out to you and coming to you and saying all right, I see the value in this. Can you help me navigate this? What does it look like for me to encourage somebody to step into this role within my business?
Oh yeah. So we actually have a few founders who have are encouraging members of their team to sit in on we do daily content trainings. And so to get their team involved, right? So that their teams can build personal brands. And then we have even bigger companies that are hey, how can we use, basically your model, but just for our team, you know what I mean? So there's definite interest. A lot of them are, I'd say, more startups. Usually between, if they're a small business, it's probably 20 employees. But if they're a startup, it could be between 200, 300 employees.
Yeah, so that's amazing. I think that would have such incredible value, right? Because that's the way that we're shifting into, for sure. And to have somebody like you show up and model and guide for them how to not be intimidated by it, but how to accept it,
embrace it,
embrace it and bring it into their world. I mean,
that's right.
Gosh.
And I think that there's plenty of room too. That's the other thing. There's so much room out there right now for people in this space to start helping others. So anyways, I hope that this conversation encouraged some of you guys today. I know I was entertained. I'm still freezing. But Shanee, I am so grateful that you gave us a little extra time today and that you came on the show. Donnie, can we tell our live studio audience, give her a little round of applause here?
Thanks, Rigo. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Krista, as well.
Oh, yeah. No, you guys, listen, we've been in good company here the last few weeks, and I am really, really, really grateful for everybody that's been showing up. And we've had a great audience, even though on my end, LinkedIn completely crapped out. I don't know. I mean, I think it's still going live. I don't know, but
we'll figure it out. But thank you so much, Rigo. Thank you so much, Krista. I have to go now, but
yep. Shanee, thank you so much. I hope to have you back again. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, love that.
Thank you.
So I don't know. What do you think, Krista? Huh?
That was awesome. I mean,
she's so cool.
I know. I feel mellow. I feel ready to like.
Did you see Dave was talking smack? Yeah, Dave Reeves was talking smack. Listen, all right, this is how it goes. If you have not, hey, we both can't push buttons at the same time. If you like what you're seeing, this is how this works. We want to know if you're living in the North American continent. It's real simple. Do us a favor. Text hashtag lunch to 316-799-8052. Hashtag lunch, 316-799-8052. That joins our community. And I want you to tell me right now, who do you like better in outfit? Me or Krista? Krista's number 2. I'm number 1. I want to know, it's our little poll. Who's looking more sharp? Do you notice that we're kind of like good angel, bad angel in it today?
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. I've been sweating the whole time that I've been sitting here.
I'm freezing.
Because it's like 80 in Arizona right now.
Yeah, no, I'm like, Donnie keeps shutting the camera off for me so I can be like, it's so cold in here. It's so cold. Listen, we're so grateful for all you guys who show up. Thank you so much. Shanee does need to return. I agree. It was awesome having her here. It was awesome having all of you guys. So listen, next week, we're going to have Maria back. So if you remember, Maria got COVID right before the show started for us to talk about public speaking. And we had an incredible co-host who came in, and that was Nikki Cunningham, or excuse me. Yeah, I said it right. Yeah. Okay. I'm like, I can't get these names right, but sorry, Nikki. But anyways, listen, we are Cummings. It's Nikki and Buddy Cummings, not Cunningham. That's another guy.
Good correction.
I can't. I'm bad at this.
You rock.
Listen, I named my children 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And if you think I'm joking, you can ask them. I call them by number. It's easier for me to remember. All right, listen, you guys, we're so grateful. Chris is so happy to have you back. I think we're going to have Nikki back next week as a special guest appearance to come in because she didn't get to be a part of this with Maria. And I'm really pumped about you coming back and doing all this. And I think I may just sit back and let the girls take over the show next week. Maybe I'll get back there on the board with Donnie.
Yep, there you go. We can handle it.
Yeah, I know you can. Anyways, you guys are in for a treat for next week as we get Maria, and then we've got another incredible guest coming up the next week. After that, his name is Bob. I'll introduce you to what they do here soon enough. But listen, you guys, thank you so much. Thank you for being here, Krista. Thank you. You guys mean everything to us, and I'm so glad that you came in. Let us know what you think. Again, join our community. It's right down there below. And with that, I'm going to say God bless, take care, and stay warm. Donnie, are we good to go? All right. See you guys later.